Okay, so I decided to do another stream today after all because I didn't feel like relaxing and playing a video game. I really felt like painting this guy. He's sort of on my mind when I woke up this morning and I drew him really quick. So I like to paint him. And I already made a copy for future coloring books. So he is a creature who loves grape flavored sodas and maybe wine and things like that. So my plan is that he is going to have some purple, but I really want him to have certain areas that are sort of glowing yellowish colors, and then it's going to kind of transition into kind of a pinkish red and then into a purple. So with watercolor, usually you start with your lightest color. And I think we're going to work on his face. I'm going to zoom him in a little bit here. He's just so cute. I don't know if anyone's around tonight, but I so rarely stream at night because I don't usually do a lot of painting, kind of. It's after 8 here. I usually paint more in the morning and afternoon. But I don't know, I kind of felt like working on him, and I have a pretty good light here, so I'm able to do that. Trying to make sure he's showing up at least close to right here on the screen so that you guys are getting kind of close colors. So I'm going to start out by painting kind of his face yellow. I'm just using lemon yellow, which is a pretty standard color, and a small brush because he's got a lot of details and there's a lot of areas I kind of don't want to get into. So we're just going to start out with his face. I don't know if anyone's going to tune in at night or if we'll get anybody different in here. But he felt like he needed some color. I'll probably be on for about an hour. That should be, or less. It should not take me too long since a lot of the work on this guy was done in ink. Okay, so while this is still kind of wet, I'm actually going to use a color called Opera. It is, slide this up so we can see it's this super bright pink, but when you put it over yellow, it gets a little redder, and it works really well for doing kind of blushy little noses, and I think I want him to have kind of a blushy little nose. So we finally got off our butts and have been watching The Mandalorian, which is usually Daniel loving spaghetti western stuff going on and me going, I want it for every creature that comes on the screen. I think I'm pretty much watching it for the creatures. It's probably good that I am not an incredibly wealthy person, or I would have a menagerie of bizarre beasts. Probably like a spooky old house that's also a cat shelter with like 200 cats or something ridiculous like that, and then Daniel would get really annoyed at all the cats and at me. We'd give him like a video game cave, so it would be fine.
Thanks, just put me in a cave.
Yep, just gonna put you in a cave. Well, no, it'd be like a video game cave. It would have like epic.
You better just maybe once in a while.
No, it would just be so like you'd have a cat-free zone in like the creature ranch. That would be all.
You could just
It'd be so you'd have like an epic critter-free zone with like every gaming thing you could ever want, like a full VR rig and all that. Given that we'd have like all this money that I totally don't have, but feel like the inside of his ears should also kind of have that same sort of pinker tone because critters often have pink inside their ears. I'm just using lemon yellow, and I think this color is called Opera. Just kind of building my colors up to create a cute little face. I want to go a little bit redder, I think, with his nose. So we'll see. I thought I'd fix that issue with the video flickering occasionally, but apparently I did not. I found I had a anti-flicker setting on that might have been actually causing it, so I turned it off. Didn't help. So maybe that is like a frame rate issue or something. So occasionally I see the video flicker on my end, and I don't know if that kind of carries over into the finished stream or not, but I guess we'll see. So next I'm going to use some purple. This is kind of a violet color that is on the redder side. And I'm definitely going to be going darker. See, now I feel like it's flickering more with that anti-flicker off, so maybe it was actually helping. I don't know what causes that here. So I was trying to get it to happen and it wouldn't, and then as soon as I'm doing this, it is. So that's weird. So yeah, I want to get kind of the base colors in here, and then I'm going to go in with some darker colors on him. He's going to be a weird, cute looking critter. I'm using a pretty small brush. Sometimes I can use bigger ones for stuff like this. It kind of depends really on what I feel like more than anything else. Like I said, don't usually stream this time of night, so you guys might only be seeing this on a playback on another day because I don't think we got anybody tuning in tonight, but that's okay. I still got to make a cool recording of the creature. I'm just messing around with the lighting a little to try to get this to look close on my computer to what it looks like when I'm painting. So you guys will be able to see that. Looks pretty cute. And my idea is to actually kind of do trying some different colors. Yeah, like a crimson-y color on here to kind of blend these two areas together. I think it adds a little more vibrant color. There we go. He's a happy little guy. And he just loves anything that is grape flavored. That's his deal. But specifically like grape flavored things to drink. Yeah, it's like we got at least a couple people starting to tune in. You know, I don't normally stream kind of after 5 or 6 in the evening, and here in Arizona it is about 8:24. It's a little later, but normally I wouldn't bother to set up a light and paint at night, but I kind of felt like working on this guy. Sometimes paintings specifically of creatures, like they want to be worked on. And I felt more like doing this than playing a video game or relaxing for the night, so, well, this for me is relaxing. Aw, look at his cute little nose. I don't think this guy's real big. Maybe a foot long, 1.5 feet. He's a pretty small critter. I suppose it doesn't really matter since I don't have anything in the picture for scale, but I think about that when I am working on stuff. There we go. Just trying to create a little bit of texture on his nose. That's kind of what I had in mind for colors. And then I'm going to use a little more of the crimson color just to create some shadows for like around the eyes and some things like that, because I think it looks a little more natural when you get at least a little in there. It's a little dark, but it'll blend out. There we go. And I'll do the same thing kind of around the mouth. Just creates a little more depth. He's such a cute little guy. So I really have done most of this with 3 colors. It's lemon yellow, opera, and then, 4 colors, because then I'm using a violet, and then I'm using kind of a crimson red color with my violet to create like these kind of slightly redder, darker areas. And as this dries, I can add more layers of paint if I want to kind of create more depth, but it's kind of his head there. And I think I might then go into kind of a less red purple, a more grapey sort of purple. And kind of introduce that. There we go. I do think painting things like this is a sort of magic, because the creatures really kind of carry on a life of their own. They have their own personalities, and that they just sort of come out when you're working on them. And I sort of enjoyed that process and let it happen more naturally. It was harder when I started. It definitely, when I first started drawing more seriously as a teenager, I could look at things, characters from anime series and stuff like that, and copy them. But it took me about a year to do anything as an original that I was happy with. And I still remember the first original piece I was happy with. Oh, watch me dropping my brush. Was a jester that I painted. It was a female jester. I think she was wearing blue and green. I actually think I did her in marker, but I was very proud of myself for having done something that I didn't copy from a TV series or anything else, and it took quite a lot longer for me to actually start doing stuff that I was willing to show people or sell of my own, but art became such an outlet, art and writing for me, as a way to deal with stress and to relax. So it's definitely very helpful now when there's a lot of stress going on out there. This guy is so cute. He reminds me of something, but I can't think of what it is. So maybe a little bit of a bat, but he's obviously not a bat. But he has like kind of batty looking ears, really exaggerated batty looking ears. Sometimes I plan for a long time before I do a finished creature drawing. Sometimes it's a lot of sketches and reference and ideas, especially if I have a really specific goal in mind. But sometimes, like with this guy, I just sat down and drew him this morning. Right after breakfast, he just wanted to be drawn. Kind of saw him in my head, and I kind of knew what colors he was going to be around that time too. Decided he needed a lot more pink on his nose, and this will blend in a bit as it dries, and then I'm going to add some highlights on there too. I would totally give one of these guys as a pet. So they might be distantly related to like fruit bats or something, because they have kind of that look, and they do love fruit things, specifically grape things. They kind of remind me of if you cross like bats and monkeys. So now while his face is drying, I'm going to work on some of the other parts that are going to be lighter with that same yellow. If anybody does tune in and has questions, you can truly hop in the chat and ask them. I am happy to answer them. Sometimes I just feel like creating even when I should be knocking off work for the day, so felt like this guy I did not want to wait to have color added. So there's the yellow. That's the basis for kind of his skin tone parts. Think of that as like more like skin showing, and then this is more fur growing onto it. And I'm just gonna, I call this tap in some of the paint, because I'm just touching it very lightly to the wet paint, and it'll automatically kind of spread out and blend in. I've left his eyes for right now because I'm debating on the color for those. I'm thinking there'll probably be something with green, but yeah, I am not sure. And that was a yawn, even though I'm not that tired. I'm probably lulling myself to sleep by talking to myself while I'm painting. There's cute little hands. It's a good basis for them. And then bring in some more of that kind of crimson color and start blending that out into our violets. I'm using a bigger brush for these areas. For the face, I really wanted to be very careful about where the color went. Here, I'm not as picky. I know what he reminds me of. He reminds me of the bat in Fern Gully a tiny bit. Just because that guy has really, really big ears as well. And bats do have those kind of blunter noses. I'm just putting in some very light green, which I'm going to let dry. The light's reflecting off of it. It actually looks really cool with the light reflecting off of it, but I'll try to adjust that a little bit. So it really helps. Once it dries, it won't reflect as much. I don't know that I want to make his belly that yellow color. I think that's going to stay just for like the hands, feet, face, ears. So I think I'm just going to start working a lot more purple around in here. He's such a cheery little guy. Like I've been doing a lot of happy little creatures recently, maybe because I'm trying to cheer everybody up. There we go. I feel like his fur kind of grows kind of right around here a bit, but still see a little bit of that yellow peeking through. Hoping everybody's doing okay out there. He looks pretty cute now. Bring a little more of that crimson color in for some of his shadows here. And when it mixes with the purple, it just makes it kind of a darker redder purple. This creates some cool color variation on him. His eyes still aren't dry, they take a while. I think these spots on his back are just going to be a darker purple, so not too worried about leaving them. He's coming along pretty good. Very cute. It's funny, I feel like I do a bunch of creatures in a row that are really cute. And then I feel like I have to do something either very majestic or scary or serious after that because I get sick of the cuteness. So I think you can have cute creatures that are scary too. I mean, imagine if this guy had like crazy anglerfish teeth when his mouth was open. That'd be pretty terrifying. But he's got cute little teeth because I put those in already. So this one won't be too terrifying. Okay. I'm just using my brush to sort of suggest fur pattern. It just, you move the brush in a sort of scrubbing motion and you go in the direction of the fur. And it should then look kind of fuzzy. And you don't want the brush too wet when you're doing that, because you want it not to bleed together as much. Okay, so he's looking pretty cute. And I opted not to give him too foofy a tail. He just has sort of a regular tail going on. Hopefully anybody tuning in is having a decent night, surviving the craziness of wherever you're at. Looks like we got some people hanging out now. Normally I try to tune into somebody else's stream at night, but I didn't really see anyone else streaming, so at least as far as like the DJs I normally listen to, I guess tonight's everybody's off night, so thought I would do some painting instead. So for his feet, again, those are not going to have fur on them, so I'm going to start with some yellow. The last thing I'm going to do when I'm all done with this is add some really nifty highlights, but he's coming along pretty well. Touch in a little bit of our pink. I have no idea why this color is called opera. I wonder if I could look that up more, because I don't know why really bright pink would be associated with the opera, or I don't know what else that would be named for, but I don't know. Paints have weird names. So for anybody tuning in, if I haven't met you before, I am an author and illustrator in Tucson, Arizona, where we are all at stay-at-home orders like a lot of the rest of the world. I'm just going to zoom this back out so you can see more of him. So, fortunately, because I work from home, that doesn't affect my work too much. It more affects me and my ability to get coffee or go to the movies or go grocery shopping. It's a little weird grocery shopping right now. They have limited numbers of people they allow in stores and stuff like that, which I'm glad they're all being safe. That's good. Let's see if I can get a little bit better light here. Very difficult to do the lighting at night. Hello. I like your screen name. So I'm working on this weird little creature that loves grape flavored things. Specifically grape juice, grape soda, and they're pretty docile unless they get into your wine, and then it's bad news. I tried to adjust the lighting so that you guys could actually see it pretty well. It's been a little tricky. Like, I have a light here that works fine for me painting, but when I put this up too bright on the computer, then you guys kind of lose some of the colors. Oh, I talk because I have a lot of folks who play back my videos later, like Patreon subscribers or kids who are in other time zones and can't stay up late. So, oh, thank you. I always like being told that. People like seeing what I draw. I drew this guy this morning, and we actually did a stream this morning of me drawing this other weird creature, which I have here somewhere. Here it is. This morning we did this weird fly-inspired creature drinking tea that I promised I would paint tomorrow on a stream. So that's going to be a little more detailed than what I'm doing now. The one I'm doing now is mostly just kind of a floofy thing, so it doesn't have as much detail. I think it looks like if a weird purple monkey and a fruit bat hybrid or something. And I'm working on a lot of creatures that like weird Lord of the Rings creature. I don't know if they have purple ones in Lord of the Rings. That'd be pretty cool, though. I think I was channeling more Star Warsiness because we were watching The Mandalorian, and there's a lot of little creatures in that. But the book this is for is going to be called Beverage Beasts, and it is all creatures that are somehow related to things that you drink. Not necessarily drinks with alcohol in them. But we did a strawberry kiwi dragon the other day, which was pretty entertaining. And a lemon lime griffin. This has been fun. Of course, I did tequila worm because you have to have a dragon in a bottle of really magical tequila that is probably very dangerous to consume. Oh, the one that I showed with the tea, it looks like a Lord of the Rings creature. Do they have fly-based creatures? Now I'm trying to think. I've seen a couple of fly-based creatures in Doctor Who. My favorite Doctor Who episodes has these humanoid creatures that just have giant fly heads. But I thought I'd have fun today and do something other than dragons because I tend to do a lot of dragons. This morning we were finishing up our tiny tea drakes, which are dragons that move into unused teacups and teapots in your cupboard and nest in there. So we were working on that for a bit. That was a longer painting. It had a full background. It is a lot more detailed than this dude. He's so cute. He's a very happy little dude. But yeah, I don't think you should actually let him have wine. I feel like when they get drunk, maybe something bad happens. I think they're kind of like gremlins, where gremlins you're not supposed to get them wet or feed them late at night, and I feel like fermented grapes might be the downfall of the grape creature, and he might go nuts. There are some bees in The Hobbit, that's right. I love The Hobbit as a book, and I love certain portions of The Hobbit as a series of films. But there's a lot of things I don't love about the films. In particular, is the fact that they didn't use prosthetics for a lot of the orcs. When they'd done that in Lord of the Rings, that really bugged me, and the pacing was really weird. It's hard to have a dramatic chase scene with a dragon if the chase scene takes like 35 minutes on screen. So I was a little disappointed with that. I thought the opening was awesome, and I liked the cast, but I don't feel like it had a lot of the artistic attention to detail that the Lord of the Rings movies did. And I don't feel like the adaptation worked as well. I know they were trying to work in other things, but the pacing was really weird, and I thought if they were making such long movies, it was a little weird that they didn't bother trying to help us differentiate between all of the different dwarves. Yeah, I mean, to me, there's such a contrast because The Hobbit is such a happy story, and then Lord of the Rings, a lot of its darkness comes in the comparison. And as a read, I mean, I just loved The Hobbit as a kid, and I feel like there were things that were my favorite parts that they did really fast in the movie. Like, I love the part with the spiders, and I felt like they barely spent any time on that, but then they spent a lot of time on other things that just seemed very draggy. So I don't know. I didn't like the adaptation, and I think that's why a lot of people found it boring. I think the pacing was strange, and I think it was where that they didn't use actual prosthetics for the orcs the way that they did in Lord of the Rings. I mean, Lord of the Rings is so long; it's essentially 9 books, because each book contains 3 books inside it. So they had a lot of material to work with, and I think they adapted it as well as could be expected for that. I think the extended versions are a little bit better. But I love the creature designs from Lord of the Rings. Though probably my favorite creature design thing recently for sure would be Valerian. And they actually move past the creatures so fast in the movie, you don't even get to really admire a lot of them. But my boyfriend got me the concept art book for it, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So I don't know. We'll kind of see what happens. My favorite fantasy series, though it's not so much for creatures, as far as like film or movie fantasy series, by far is The Magicians, and I was kind of heartbroken. We just watched the last episode of it last week, but to me, that is some of the best writing for television that has been done in many years. So it's just very slow season 1 because they were trying to be like the books, and then they realized that for on screen writing, telling a very depressing story about just one character really didn't work very well for them. And starting kind of with the end of season 1, and then progressively from there, it gets better and better as they branch out to the other characters. So I don't know. I think they feel like because Game of Thrones was a big success now, they just want to do a lot more really dark, angsty fantasy. And I could go for some happier fantasy. I thought The Magicians was a really great balance of really heavy stuff and then some of the best comic relief moments. And I've said this on a couple of my other streams. It's the only TV series where other than maybe Buffy, where I love the musical episodes. In particular, the season 4 musical episode, I can just have it on loop in the background because they picked all 80s songs, and the 80s songs are sometimes sung better than the original songs. The cast just does a better job. So, this guy's actually coming along pretty fast. There we go. It is a little weird if we don't have anyone on the stream and I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I do get quiet for a little, but honestly, I talk to myself a little bit as I work. I more mumble, so this way I have to just talk more normally. But I don't talk kind of nonstop like I do when I'm streaming. There we go. Just make the spots on his back a little more interesting. And I think I'm going to kind of make those stand out a little more with my highlights, which is kind of, I have to finish the eyes and do some highlights, but this guy's actually going really fast. And I'm not sure if I want to put a shadow under him or not. I've been kind of debating that. But I think I need to do at least a little more with his eyes. I kind of want to bring in some purple. Are you making frowny faces at me on my chat? This is cool though. I've had people popping in and out. That always makes me happy. And he's almost done. And then I can play Path of Exile. I think Path of Exile is a sentient video game because we do a little shadow, maybe a little one. I think it can tell, like, when you're wanting good loot, and then it just have days where you get like nothing good in the game, and then just when you're ready to just completely give up playing it, you'll get a day when you get nothing but awesome things that defy luck. There we go. Once his eyes are dry, I'm gonna do some highlights there. But I think that's pretty close. Just a bit. Normally I use kind of a dark gray purple for shadows, but I feel like that's gonna be too much of the same color. So I am debating. I think what I might do is just do a little bit of blue around him. So it won't totally be a shadow. It'll be more like a, I don't know, an indication of like a sky colored background or something. Just do it very lightly here and add a little more darkness down here. I'm just waiting for his eyes to dry. And no, I don't know what's causing that screen flicker. It's something with the camera and possibly the camera drivers. I think they're up to date. I know my software updated, but I wonder if I didn't used to get Flickr recording videos for YouTube, but I updated the software and things more recently when I went to do Twitch, and I'm wondering if I might have to do some Googling and figure out what is making it flicker like that, because it's making me annoyed. There we go. Yeah, I've tried turning the anti-flicker off and on, and it does not seem to make any difference, which is weird. I don't know why it doesn't make any difference. Nope, it's not making any difference. And all of the auto lighting and autofocus and everything on my camera are turned off, so it can't be it trying to do anything with that. So because I'm seeing it both in the camera feed and in the Twitch studio program, I know it is related to the camera feed. So, and I don't think there's anything broken or damaged with this camera because it seems fine. When I was trying to get it to do this earlier, it wasn't doing it, so it might be some kind of thing related to when I'm moving, or I'm not sure. I will have to troubleshoot it tomorrow. Because yeah, if I'm seeing it in the direct camera feed, then it cannot be related to, I don't think it can be related to frame rate drops unless the camera itself is dropping frames, which would be very weird. There we go. It looks pretty good. Yeah, that flicker is annoying because I can see it happening out of the corner of my eye on my monitor, and I'm like, what is causing it? Because I don't feel like it was doing this when I first started streaming, or at least not as much. And it happens daytime, nighttime, so it is not specific to low light or anything. So I have a feeling it's a camera driver issue, because 90% of the time when you have an issue with anything in USB and Windows, it is driver related. And then the other 10% of the time it's because something's actually wrong with the physical cord plugging into the computer, which isn't in this case. Because I was told earlier that my audio is not cutting out, which means it's not an intermittent thing. The screen isn't going black or anything, so I apologize if anyone's seeing a little bit of flicker occasionally, and I will try to track down what is causing it. But in the meantime, I will get this guy finished up. He is almost done. I'm just finishing a little more border around him with this blue. Definitely looks better with the blue. It makes him stand out more. He looks like he's kind of hungry. There we go. Make sure we're all kind of blended up here. And painting backgrounds can be a bit of a learning curve if you're painting around stuff already there. I'm using pretty light colors. Okay, so I'm almost done with the background of my weird little creature. I'm going to have a name for them eventually. I mean, he's some sort of monstrous creature, but he's not scary. Unless he has alcohol, then he's very scary. In fact, he might actually turn into another creature entirely. Like, he might Hulk out if he has wine. I think that'd be pretty funny. If he's like fermented grapes, bad things happen. He becomes some sort of vicious purple creature. There we go. And there's an anti-flicker setting. It doesn't seem to make any difference, but that is just for, I guess, if you're under fluorescent lights, which I am not. I'm under an LED light, where the light itself, or if you're like filming a computer monitor where that has some sort of flickering involved in it. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting to the face. And this cute little beastie will be done. It's pretty fast, about 40 minutes. he's not too detailed a creature. Be just under an hour probably when I finish him up. So I just use white ink to do the highlights and things like that in the eyes. I could try to paint around them and leave them, but then it's harder to get the color smooth. And I, in the past, have used masking fluid where you paint it and then do your watercolor and then scrape it off. But I actually find that this is faster and a little more flexible. And it allows for you to just put these awesome little white highlights in that create a lot of atmosphere for creatures. He's definitely going to have a little bit of sparkle on his nose here. Make sure his teeth are nice and white. There we go. You just got to make sure if you are using waterproof white acrylic ink like I am that you really wash your brush well before the ink fully dries in it. Just make sure it's fully rinsed out so you don't get ink permanently dried in your brush, which can kind of mess it up. I'm just trying to add a little more fur texture here. He looks pretty good. I think it's easy to over highlight something, so you don't want to do that, but it is a great way to add kind of some fur and some highlights on his hands and things like that. And if I have places where the blue from the background has gone over a little, I can easily clean it up with a little bit of white here when I'm adding some highlights, and it'll look pretty good. Do a little on his feet. And then I was going to do sort of these spots on his back a little bit. I'm going to paint them with a nice bright highlight. Maybe give him a little more fur texture. You can water down the white ink so it's a little more transparent for things, or you can leave it brighter depending on what you need. There. One adorably cute grape craving creature. That's such a great way to add just tiny little details. I think that really do the last little bit of bringing a creature to life. And I just do a lot of little lines and spots and fur fluff and things like that until it looks done. There we go. A lot of this is just a way to make sure that it doesn't just look like one massive purple floof, but that it actually has a little bit of fur texture, more than my black ink gives it. It's pretty close. I think he needs a little help down here in his spiky tail bits. There we go. A little more on his hands. You can see it's pretty fast if you have an ink drawing to add color like this. Hi Ninja Ferret, it's going good. For some reason I'm streaming at night because instead of relaxing and playing video games, I thought it would be fun to paint this guy. He wanted to be painted. He's such a happy little guy. Tomorrow we're going to paint our really weird fly creature that we drew this morning. I'm streaming at all kinds of weird times today. Streamed pretty early this morning and then randomly decided to stream tonight because we have no DJs streaming, which is making me sad. Sometimes I feel like a picture just wants to be painted and does not want to wait, and this guy did not want to wait. So I'm just working on adding all his little highlights and stuff like that. Hopefully you guys are having a good day and surviving the madness. I feel like all of us who are creators are going to get together and have like a big drink and draw or artist jam coffee or something after this. Yeah, tomorrow night, I know Mojito's DJing, so I'm totally gonna do that. And I was gonna play video games tonight, and then somehow this happened. So, but I'd been thinking about what colors to use on him all day, so I think that just gets in my head, and then Daniel's playing Sea of Thieves in here too, and he's getting a bit frustrated, I think. I know he's really cute. He's kind of obnoxiously cute. So the deal with these guys is they love grape flavored things, usually in liquid form. So like if they actually get grapes, they suck the juice out of them. They don't eat the grapes. And they love things like grape soda and grape juice. But if they have fermented grape, I think they kind of hulk out and get really scary. Because that would be really funny because it's such a cute little critter to begin with. So I always think about the storyline behind them because I usually have to write it for the book. This is going to be a fun book. And I think in this book, in the beginning of my books, I always kind of thank my Patreon subscribers and my Kickstarter backers and the coffee shop for putting up with me painting there where I usually am. And I'm very excited. They're reopening tomorrow just for to-go stuff, but I will be able to get my coffee again, which I am very happy about because they've been closed for a couple weeks. And I mean, we have coffee at home, but it is not a cafe au lait with Irish cream flavor or caramel flavor, which are my two favorites. So, and they're doing some sort of insanely dangerously bad deal, which is like 4 pastries for $10, which for freshly baked, absolutely amazing pastries is a really good deal, but it's very bad for me because I should not eat a box full of pastries. So. Add a little more to his ears up here. I think he's pretty much done. We had a lot of people in my stream this morning. I thought that was weird, even though almost nobody was talking. That happens. So that's wonder if I'm getting people tuning in who maybe don't speak English and just want to watch me paint, or who just like to lurk. I think a lot of people like to lurk. But yeah, I usually thank all those people in my books, and I think in this book I'm going to have to thank all the Twitch streamers and stuff because everybody's been helping me be sane while I'm working on it. And I'm used to working from home, so it doesn't bother me that much, but I don't know, I think the state of the world and how nuts people are going is kind of bothering me more. I worry more about that. I think most people are handling stuff okay, but every once in a while you just see that somebody sort of lost it in a news story, and I don't know how comforting it is that gun sales are way up either. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, I guess, arming yourself, but choosing right now to do it seems a little ominous. But I guess you gotta guard your your stockpile of toilet paper, right? Okay, I think he's pretty much done. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that needs adjusting. We got halfway decent lighting in here tonight, so you guys can kind of see how he looks all finished. And I think the only thing I see is I feel like he needs some more shadow kind of under his chin because his neck is sticking out. I mean, you can't really see his neck because of all the floof, but this is kind of the neck area under the chin. And it needs to be a little more shadowed. I'm going to grab some color where I can bring that down just a little darker, so he will pop out a little more. I'll do something similar back here. See, now that my white has dried, it will not smudge, and I can actually kind of blend colors over it. It'll still be there, but it won't be as noticeable. So it's a cool way of toning down your highlights if they're too bright. There we go. I feel like the cuteness of this picture is way too much. But then I like the idea of him becoming some like scary beast. If he is. I don't think he gets drunk. Like, I think if you give him wine or any sort of fermented grape, I don't think he gets drunk. I think he just has a bizarre reaction to it. He goes kind of berserk. Like, I think it's like a espresso times 1,000 for this particular species of creature, because that would be super entertaining. I think he is about done. I think if I add more highlights and stuff, it's just going to look weird. Just going to shadow his backhand here a little bit to make it stand out from the front one, because I think it's too much becoming one shape. A little more shading on the hands. I don't know, hands, claws. I don't know if they're entirely claws, but his little mitts. There we go. And yeah, these are the weird things I think about, are little floofy purple creatures hulking out, and this is part of my job, which means I have one of the most awesome jobs in the world. One I never thought I would have, but has been a super rewarding experience, and I get to work with amazing subscribers from all over the world who help design the creatures. These ones are actually subscriber rewards, these little ones that I do, so this will get mailed out the beginning of next month to one of them. And I think that's about it. So I am going to stop messing with him and say he's done. Okay, almost done. I have to do one more thing. Go a little more red up here. Oh, thank you. This is what happens when we start watching The Mandalorian, is I want all the creatures, and then I just start drawing weirder and weirder creatures. But I will definitely be back streaming tomorrow when I will be painting this bizarro, elegant, tea-drinking fly monster, who has a British accent and has been around. They were created by wizards accidentally in the Victorian era, and now they have a secret society of tea-drinking fly monsters that live. I haven't decided where. Perhaps in secret underground elegant rooms off the sewer system somewhere in London. That'd be pretty awesome. Or in France. And this is a female one, but I think the male ones wear top hats. Like, I don't think they actually wear clothes, because they couldn't really wear human clothes because their legs would not work because they have too many, but I think they would sort of be into the accessories of the elegant Victorian era gentry. So I will be working on that guy tomorrow, and I think I'm going to sign off now for the night, play a few video games, and get some sleep. But I hope you guys are all doing good. Ninja Ferret, I know I gotta tune into your stream sometime too. I feel like I keep missing them, so I will have to check that out. I used to do a lot of photo editing myself and photo repair of like ripped photographs and things like that. So I'm always curious what other people are up to. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Have a good night. Everyone should stay out of trouble and stay home and wash your hands. And that's about it.